Hello, everybody, and welcome into the newest edition in this year's first edition of UMass Sports Weekly, your number one source for all things UMass sports. If you recall from last year, I'm your dashing and charming host, Tommy Colludi, and boy, do we got a great show for you today. First, our Dr. Tim Dennehy, who had a PhD in men's soccer, is working on his MD in football. He's going to come in to talk to us about the 0-2 Minutemen football team. After that, your favorite Allie is going to come in and talk about the women's field hockey team, who just came off of a brutal loss against number 4 UConn. Right after that, your favorite dual reporter, Phil Sanzo, comes in. He's writing for the Collegian, and he's also analyzing for us. He's going to talk some men's soccer. And then to finish off the show, we got old reliable Liam Byrne. He's going to come in and tell you a little bit about that women's soccer team. The lights are ready. There's that TV behind me, and Jake standing there doing Periscope. It's going to be a great show. This is UMass Sports Weekly.
This is UMass Sports Weekly.
And welcome back to the show. I'm here with Dr. Tim Dennehy. We call him Doctor because he was an expert in men's soccer. Tim went back to school. He's working, getting his MD.
In football.
Football.
Yes, in football. UMass football.
So, Tim, first off, we're starting off the season in a new era.
Yes.
No longer are we in the era of Blake Fronapp and Tajay Sharp. Blake, I believe, got cut by the Indianapolis Colts. Tajay put up 7 points for my fantasy team as the Tennessee Titans lead receiver.
Nice.
So, in this new era, we have Ross Comas, your new quarterback.
Yes.
We had a game from Florida, tough game, lost 24-7. Tell us about this BC game, though. How did Ross perform?
He did not play that well, unfortunately. No.
Phenomenal.
He did not play that great. He went for 11-28 and with 1 interception. Not the numbers that you want to put up as a starting quarterback. He made a lot of mistakes in crucial spots. It was one third and short, tight game in the first half, and he goes for a long ball and, it just gets swatted down. And, we have to punt after that. UMass has to punt after that. Those are mistakes that, they'll smooth themselves out over time. He's a really, really talented. He comes from football country, West Virginia. He was a stud down there. Last year he played in 6 games. He went 15 for 21. 2 touchdowns, his best performance. He went 8 for 8 against Notre Dame. I mean, that's no slouch. That's Notre Dame. So he has talent. It's there. But he did not put it on display these 2 games.
All right, Tim, I believe we have a soundbite from Coach Mark Whipple about Ross Comas.
Absolutely.
So when we come right back, we'll be talking right about that. Can't wait to see Coach Whipple. And welcome back. So, Tim, looking at Coach Whipple's comments, obviously, Whipple has been called the quarterback whisperer before. You know what he did with Ben Roethlisberger. He turned Fronapp into a solid college quarterback. What do you think this team needs to do to be able to compete, and what do you think Coach Whipple needs to do to be able to compete against FIU and really get this team on the winning track?
Well, I think that actually they're going to dominate FIU. Dominate FIU.
Hot take.
This
Watch
is
the
a
fire.
hot take.
Fanning the flames, that's a hot
Absolutely.
take.
Get the fire extinguisher because we need it, gentlemen. FIU, they're coming off 2 really, really terrible losses, both at home. They lost 34-14 to Maryland, 41-14 to Indiana. So they're going to have a little cold feet going on the road, and this is UMass's time to shine at home. McGurk Stadium, Lot 11 is closed. The tailgate's bumping. Alumni are in the building. This is going to be a good game. A lot of energy in this stadium. I'm really expecting the Minute fans to come out for this one.
You heard that. Expecting the Minute fans to come out and show their support. There you go, Tim. Now, even though these 2 losses were difficult, both 26 and 24 points, not a ridiculous amount of scoring. I mean,
no.
This team has played relatively well on defense. Do you think this is a strength going forward, or do you think Coach Whipple needs to move some other things around and just kind of retool the whole team going forward?
No, I think I'm gonna quote last year. I think we got, who is it? I believe it's Liam Byrne. We got defense. I believe Xander said that one 5 times last year. But you know what? I'm going to use it on the first one this show because the defense has been phenomenal for the UMass Minutemen. They've been great. They've been the shining star of this team. I mean, they kept it relatively close. Boston College, that's a strong team. Florida, that's a very strong team. And they kept it into, 19-point games or so. That's close for UMass football, right? I mean, But they shut them.
Close is a relative term.
That's all we talk about here on Sports Weekly is relative terms.
Yeah.
They shut down BC in the first quarter. They showed that they can do it. Now the offense just needs to pick up the slack for the defense. The offense, they had turnovers at the end of the first half, which really, if you take away a couple of those turnovers, they turn the ball over on their own 30-yard line. I mean, that's a tough ask for your defense to stop that consistently. So if UMass offense helps out the defense complements, I believe we have a competitive team. And like I said, hot take, FIU, they're getting killed this week.
I mean, Minutemen have Sakai Lindsay and Marquise Young on the backfield. So,
yeah.
I mean, they have the ability to run the ball. Hopefully Comas can complement that.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Tim. Remember, go down. Minutemen are playing FIU at McGurk Alumni Stadium this Saturday. Remember to be there. Now, before we end this segment, I just want to quote everybody at UMass Sports Weekly and congratulate Victor Cruz on his first touchdown of the 2016 season. Victor Cruz suffered 2 very devastating knee injuries. It was questionable whether he was going to return to the NFL, and he looked in great form. So, Victor, good luck to you. But we'll be right back to talk some women's field hockey. Stay tuned.
After coming off an 8-0 win over UMass Lowell earlier in the week, the UMass Minutewomen looked to capture another W as they took on the University of Connecticut Huskies. The Minutewomen were the first to get on the board with a goal by forward Grace Hogan. Senior forward Nikki Miller was credited with the assist. This was Hogan's first goal of the season. At the half, the Minutewomen held the lead with a 1-0 score. The Huskies bounced back during the second half with a penalty corner goal by senior defender Anna Middendorf. With less than 10 minutes of play, the Huskies received a very rare offensive penalty stroke. All eyes were on junior defender Casey Umstead as she flung the ball to goalie Emily Hazard's stick side. This gave the Huskies a 2-1 victory over the UMass Minutewomen. The Minutewomen hope to capture another win as they face St. Louis on September 16th.
Welcome back from that very intensive and in-depth commercial break to the show. I'm here with Allie Furl to talk some women's field hockey. And Allie, the women's field hockey is, like the men's football team, starting off a whole new era. They lose senior goaltender Sam Carlino, an All-American, and head coach of several years, Carla Tagliente. Now, Tagliente now at Princeton University, a very good field hockey program, and Carlino doing probably amazing things. We have Emily Hazard in net now, and we have Coach Amy Robertson. It's a new season. They've started off 2-3, and they played number 4 UConn. Tell me a little bit about that game.
Okay, so their matchup with UConn wasn't their best that we've ever seen them play. They were the defense. Let's talk about that. With the UMass Lowell game that they played this past Sunday, they shut them out 8-0. Their defense was attacking on these offensive players, getting their sticks down, making sure that there was no defensive corners allowed. With UConn, not the same type of thing. They allowed 8 corners for them, and one of the goals by UConn was off of a corner like that. The ball was hitting their feet the whole entire time. So it just wasn't a very good matchup. I think they just had a really off day. It was a really hot day, so I think that now they're going to step it up.
It was a really hot day, really well-contested game. We had one of our reporters, Summer Curtin, there, and there's she with the story. 3, 2, 1. Wait a little. We're going to put the story in there. So, Allie, moving on, we have St. Louis, A-10 conference opponent, I believe?
A-10 conference opponent.
These games are obviously very important. What do they need to do against St. Louis to get themselves on the right track, get back to 500?
All right, so as we did mention, this is their first A-10 conference game. Last year when UMass played St. Louis, they won 3-2. So it looks like they just need to keep the same tenacity with their offense, get those offensive corners, and the defense just needs to look better than they did against UConn and can make those connections and get those goals, hopefully secure a win like they did last year.
Yeah, Allie, I'm going to throw you a curveball. The team has a lot of players returning. You have Captain Sarah Hawkshaw, Melanie Kirsch on D, Hannah Farrell on D, Nicole Miller up front. Who, not of the people I listed, but just of the people returning, who do you think is going to be the key this year, the person to watch, the person who's going to really put the team on its back and propel them forward?
Well, as you mentioned before, the team did lose senior goalkeeper Sam Carlino. I think we should really keep our eyes on Emily Hazard. She has looked really good in net, getting the ball out of the circle and everything. So I think she's the one that we should really be looking at. Also, Nikki Miller led the team with goals last year, so we should also look to her to secure those goals and get those wins.
All right, thank you very much, Allie. Remember to keep in touch. UMass Sports Weekly will keep you updated on the UMass St. Louis game. And don't touch that dial because when we come right back, Phil Sanzo's coming on. We're going to talk some men's soccer. Don't move. The Minutemen soccer team has stumbled out of the gate, going 0-4-1. with a game in hand that we'll talk to you about a little later. Coach Fran O'Leary and the boys just haven't had a lot of success this year, and that's where Phil Sanzo comes in to talk about it. Phil, welcome in.
Thank you.
Now, you've been writing about this team. You've been analyzing it for Sports Weekly. I want to go over who's been returning, who's new, and who left. The big three. Tell me who came to this team, who left, and what else we should expect.
Well, the Minutemen of the future have a lot of good things to look forward to because very few people left. Only a handful of seniors. Will Ellis and Mark Morris are the ones that highlight those departures. They have a lot of newcomers. They actually had 11 guys come in, most of them freshmen. Highlighting that group is Andrew Barrowman, he's a forward. Konrad Goric, he's a defender out of Germany. And Ryan Saul, another guy on the defense side of the ball. With returners, you have guys like Sam Asamoah, you got Alex DeSantis, Jorge Pacera, Josh Jess, Tygon Calvez, Kevin Bueno. All guys that are mix and matching on the offense and defensive side of the ball. Those are going to be the guys that help lead the younger people, help get them getting experience. Because right now, the biggest thing of this team is just they're inexperienced. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, they got a lot of newcomers coming in, a lot of returning guys, a good nucleus for Fran O'Leary's team.
So going back to, I told you about that one game in hand. Mm-hmm. We had a game today against Albany. I believe it started at 1,
yeah.
2?
No, 3 at 4 o'clock, actually.
Now, the game did not end well for the Minutemen.
No.
Started very well. Started really well, which is a surprise for them. But fell flat. Tell us why it was such a disappointing loss to Albany. Tell us the score, too, because that's also heartbreaking.
Score is 2-1. I feel like that's just been the theme for the Minutemen recently, coming up close and just falling off. That's tough. I mean, they like most games, the Minutemen they're very good in the first half, and the second half, they kind of fall apart. They're incapable of playing a full 90 minutes competitively. And that's what happens when you have a team that's primarily full of underclassmen. You're just not experienced and fit at that level. To recap the game, you had the goals. UMass scored the first goal. Tygon Calvez, one of the two seniors on the team, scores his first goal of the season, the captain. Then they kept that lead going to the second half. Now, Albany's a top-tier team. I talked to Fran O'Leary this week, and he puts Albany up there with UNH, Syracuse, one of the teams that they expect to win their respective conference. So to have a 1-0 lead for the majority of the game, it was pretty impressive to see what the Minutemen could do.
But pretty impressive, only gets you how far?
Not very far.
How far did it get?
It got them about halfway through the second quarter when Alfonso Pinheiro of Albany scored. Which he's their best player. He's their striker. He's leading the team in goals right now. He scored one right past Pacera, like very close to the net. And that was 1-1. We thought we were going into overtime until the very end. It was about less than a minute left, and Albany had 2 corner kicks. First one missed, but they were able to redirect it out of bounds and get another corner kick. And this one, he kicked it to outside, about I'm gonna say 30 yards out, and from there the player kicked it in, and it was headed in by Carlos Clark.
Of course.
About 10 seconds left in the game. Nothing
left.
you could do about that. But that's really been the MO of the Minutemen this year. They start off very hot. They show their potential in the first half of the game, and the second half they just can't keep up with these better teams.
All right, Phil. Now, when you talk about the ability not to keep up with these other teams, we're going to have conference play soon. That's where the Minutemen really need to step up. You can get away with losing on a conference game starting off. I believe they started 0-9 last year. Mm-hmm. Still made some noise in the 18th.
Absolutely.
What do they need to do in order to start competing?
Well, they believe they're going to make that noise again. Right now they're 0-5-1 with the loss today. And last year they started off, before conference play started, 1-10. So, I mean, they dug themselves. No, they dug themselves an incredible hole. Dr. Tim Dennehy, he gave them the lethal.
Tim helped them with the shovel.
They were
had his own shovel.
They were in grave condition, according to Tim Dennehy, but they came out. They had the 4th seed in the conference, and they fully believe to do the same thing. I was talking to Josh Jess earlier in the year after a game, and he said that he believes this team is going to be 4th seed, if not better, come conference time, come the end of conference time. So they believe it's what they need is they need these out-of-conference games to really get their feet under them. I mean, when you're playing any sort of college sports, non-conference games, all they do is really help your ranking. UMass isn't going to be a nationally ranked team anytime soon. So these games essentially mean nothing to the conference standings. So they're trying to get their feet under them, and from talking from Coach O'Leary, really the biggest thing he has said to me over and over again, he's saying to the team, we just want to get better. And that's been that, and the team has taken that to heart. One of the guys I want to highlight just for a little bit is Alex DeSantis. He's a forward, junior.
Okay.
He came out last year, no goals, a lot of shots, no goals, quiet bench player, and he's emerged this year as not only a starter, but one of the best offensive players on that team with 2 goals already of the UMass's 4. So he has really emerged as one of the better players for us. He's a guy to look out for. The team's improving. O'Leary talked about them improving their passing and improving their efficiency in set pieces in the penalty zone. But they have I think it's 4 more games, 4 non-conference, 4 or 5 more non-conference games left before conference play starts up. About 2 or 3 weeks before that gets going. So they have some time to get their feet back under them. I wouldn't be surprised if they repeat what they did last year because they really do have a young nucleus of talent that is capable of making some noise.
There you go, hot take. They'll repeat what they did last year, and even hotter take, could finish in 4th place or higher.
Could,
That's
very
according
possible.
to someone on the team. Thank you very much, Phil. After the show today, we will post different schedules to the different teams so you guys can keep up, and then follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all them, and make sure you know what we're doing. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
We're not done yet, though. We have Old Reliable coming in. Liam Burnley's been here with me as long as I can remember, which for some reason isn't very long. And we're going to talk some women's soccer, so everybody stay tuned.
On a day where we remember the victims of the tragic 9/11 attacks 15 years ago, the UMass women's soccer team took on the Central Michigan Chippewas at Rudd Field on a sunny but breezy day in Amherst. Coming into this non-conference matchup, the Minutewomen hold a 2-2 record, while the Chippewas coming undefeated at 6-0. As the Minutewomen get pumped, we take you to the 4th minute, where Alexis Pelifas puts the Chippewas on the board for her first of 2 in this matchup. Now we head to the 61st minute, where the beautiful passing of the Minutewomen would set up the junior from Canton, Massachusetts, Gabriella Kenyon, who would score an incredible goal as she is taken to the ground by a CMU defender. That would be her 2nd goal of the season. Kenyon would go down with an apparent leg injury, but she was able to get up under her own power and walk off the field to continue the rest of the match. Unfortunately, the Chippewas would tally another goal to bring the Minutewomen to 2-3 on the season as they take the loss 3-1. The next 2 games, the Minutewomen travel to Providence, Rhode Island to play Brown and Providence College. I'm Liam Byrne, and this is UMass Sports Weekly.
And welcome back into the show. Here with Liam Byrne to talk some women's soccer, as we usually do to close out our fall show. Of
course.
Now, Liam, this team, not as poorly as the men's team, but still stumbled a little bit out of the gate, 2-3. Now, I'm going to let you free reign first. What do you want to talk about? If this was, say, Yak Back and we were just people babbling nonsense, what would be the first thing that you would want to say about this team to all our fans?
Well, the first thing I want to say about this team is that they're very aggressive, Tommy. Very aggressive. They had a mentality, I think, going into this game against Central Michigan University, who was undefeated going into the game. They were 6-0, one of the hottest teams in the country right now. But they weren't going to go down with a fight. Like I said, CMU was the hottest team. One of the hottest teams in the country. But their aggressiveness on defense, like I mentioned, lots of slide tackles, scrappiness, pushing and shoving. These girls were aggressive, Tom.
Cards galore?
There were only 2 yellow cards. One from each
let them
team.
play.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
let them
soccer
play.
needs. That's what soccer needs.
Exactly. It's true. And the refs definitely let them play in this one. And so,
Did it help them, though?
No, unfortunately, did not. It did not.
No, this is why I don't sleep at night.
The Minutewomen took the loss 3-1 against the Central Michigan Chippewas.
Chippewas.
Yes.
So, Liam, you talked about their aggressiveness. You mentioned to me, especially on defense.
Yes.
They have a very swarming, very high-octane defense. And do you think this is something Coach Ed Matz has been preaching, or do you think it's more just the way these girls want to play?
I think it's a little bit of both, actually, because Ed Matz, he seems like he's a very aggressive, stern person. I've talked to him in person a few times. He seems like he's very to the point and wants to, if he doesn't get what he wants or gets done, then, it's
He also just might not like you.
That too. You never know. But if you look at this graphic here, we're going to talk about some of the key stats in this game. UMass was up there with CMU in shots. UMass actually led the game in shots, 12-11. Shots on goal were tied at 7. So the corner kicks we led as well. UMass led 5-3. But this is the kicker. This is what
the kicker?
The one that you just look at and you cringe.
Cringe?
It's not good. Not good.
I'm waiting.
The fouls in this game.
Fouls?
UMass 14, CMU 6.
That is a difference of 8.
Yes. It's
And
a
I'm
lot.
not a math major. That's 14-6.
Exactly. So,
Big difference.
like I mentioned, the 2 yellow cards that were issued was one to UMass redshirt freshman defender Jenna Thomas. That was in the 50th minute, and then for CMU it was Alexis Palifas, who scored 2 goals in this game actually.
So just to close out, give us an outlook of this team going forward, what we should look forward to when it comes to watching this team and what we can expect them to do.
Well, I ref some of these girls in intramural basketball, and let me tell you, they're aggressive. So that's like the 3rd time I've said aggressive in this segment, because it's true. Like, I always like to ref their games because of all the fouls that I would call, and it was great.
Well, you're one of those refs that likes to get involved.
No, it was just
Oh,
it was just
I'm
the team.
Liam the ref. It's all about me.
It was just the team
I
that
will
was on the
decide
floor.
this game.
But what I look out for this team this season, yes, they start off 2-3, but it's non-conference, and I feel like these non-conference games are key. They have 2 upcoming games in Providence, Rhode Island, one against Brown and one against Providence College. So these 2 are very big for them coming off this loss against a really good CMU team. And if they pull off these 2 wins, I feel like they're going to look good in the A-10 competition coming up in the season, Tommy.
There you go, something great to look forward to. Unfortunately, that's going to do it for our first show of the year. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Remember to use all our social media sites. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Snapchat, Periscope. Is there another site?
Vine. We have a Vine.
We have a Vine now.
Yeah.
So that's
Everything. We're on everything. So just follow us.
that's pretty cool.
It is, yeah.
Also, remember, we're always taking new people, so if you'd like to come in every Tuesday, 7 p.m., come down to the Student Union, right in the basement, right there, UBC TV. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be back next week. I'm your host, Tommy Faluti, and you have a wonderful week, UMass. Peace out.